The sixth article is entitled Today's Liturgy, to Honor God or Man. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second most important commandment is this: love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's from 12th chapter of Mark. Sometimes I think we who are in the church have confused these two commandments. We seem to have put the second before the first, at least in relation to our liturgy. Our Mass seems to have become more of a social event, a source of entertainment rather than a participation in the sacrifice of Christ. Here are a few examples. Radical feminism has infiltrated the Church of Christ for decades. Some readers would often further their feminist agenda by changing masculine words such as he or man or mankind to replace them with words like humankind or God's instead of his. As time went on, even the words in the lectionary and the hymn books were changed to accommodate this sort of mediocrity. Fishers of men has now become fishers of people. Is it not sacrilegious to alter God's word? In many parishes, choirs have been replaced by individuals, duos, or trios. Organs are often replaced by guitars and tambourines. Instead of being in the background, the performance is staged right in front, close to the altar, and facing the congregation, who sometimes clap at a job well done. This gives an impression of exaltation to the musician instead of God. Prayer during the distribution of the Eucharist is difficult because of the loud music, some of the hymns, lyrics show more respect for the worshiper than he who should be worshipped. And beautiful old hymns are destroyed with inclusive language. The core of Catholic belief is the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist. It makes me wonder when I see the faithful standing at the elevation of the Eucharist. If one truly believes, the right posture must be to kneel and bow. There are a few of us left who genuflect before entering and leaving the pew, but this could be partially due to the fact that the tabernacles have been moved out of sight instead of being situated at the center of the altar in the place of honor. And of course, there must be the exchanging of greetings among the members of the congregation just at the time when the focus should be totally on Christ. Receiving on the hand is blasphemy. The hands of the laity are not consecrated and therefore should never touch the sacred species. Most people speak out loud before and after Masses in many churches, while in some churches coffee and snacks are served in the area of worship after the celebration. Many of the homilies, I've heard very good priests, but many of the homilies I've heard are much too politically correct, and they're always that always comes at the expense of the truth. Many of the priests go out of their way in an effort not to mention Jesus or sin. Environmental issues at times are brought to the forefront, but the word sin is seldom mentioned. A new age mentality is quietly sneaking into the picture from a very worldly perspective, very user-friendly. The situation is a direct result of the much which comes from the pulpit, the mush which comes from the pulpit. Even architecture of the church reflects the watered-down Catholicism that we now experience. Many new church buildings resemble theaters or community centers rather than authentic places of worship. I remember an old priest once lamenting, "They set out to bring the church to the world, but instead they have brought the world to the church." What has happened to our reverence for God? We throw parties for Jesus, but ignore him at his own celebration. Something is definitely wrong, and the problem is reflected by fewer vocations and low mass attendance. Contrary to popular belief, the devil is alive and active in our church. His most effective weapon is confusion, and confusion reigns supreme in the liturgy, except for in the Latin Mass, the Tridentine Mass.